Hello, Spanish 3. So today we are going to talk about the imperfect tense. This is a new tense that we're going to be focusing on. It's similar to the preterite because it takes place in the past, but it is different. So today we're going to focus on learning the imperfect. We're going to practice it. And then next week, we're going to focus on learning to tell the difference between the imperfect and the preterite. We're going to combine them into a mega lesson. So the imperfect is fairly simple. It's kind of a nice change of pace because I know we were working with like reflexives and negation, not necessarily the most fun stuff. So the imperfect is what we're going to focus on. So in this video, we're going to go through the notes. I've got a simple little PowerPoint that we're going to go through together. I want you to follow along, write the notes down, and then once we're finished, because it is kind of a simple set of notes, I'm actually going to do some examples from your assignment for the week, which is just a review of the imperfect tense. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen with the PowerPoint on it. So you should be able to see it now. So the imperfect tense, or el imperfecto. So what is the imperfect tense? So the imperfect tense is a verb tense in Spanish that is used to describe a past habitual action. And a habitual action, that just means like a routine or something that you did as a habit, you did more than once. Or it's used to talk about what someone was doing when they were interrupted by something else. So examples of this in English, down here at the bottom, right here, we have like, I went to my grandparents' house each summer. So this is a habitual action because you went there each summer. It was a routine. But if you said, I went to my grandparents' house yesterday, that would not be in the imperfect. That would be in the preterite. We also use the imperfect when we are describing time in the past. So if I wanted to say it was 9 a.m. when I woke up, that would be the imperfect. And then another one, I was dancing when she called me. So the dancing, this would be the action that is like mentioned up here, the action that gets interrupted. So dancing would be in the imperfect, and then called me, since it's the interrupting action, is going to be in the preterite. Okay. So some good news about the imperfect is that the imperfect only has two sets of endings that we have to worry about. There's a special set of endings for AR verbs, and then ER and IR verbs share a set of endings. And I pinky swear, these endings are actually really easy to remember. And another positive thing, typically in Spanish, there are loads and loads and loads of irregular verbs that we have to worry with. But in the imperfect, there are only 3 irregulars. So in your notes, make sure you are writing down these endings. So we have this chart for the AR endings. So what we're going to do, like most of our typical conjugations, we remove the AR off the end of the verb and replace it with the appropriate ending. So we have aba, abas, aba again. So to distinguish between these two, we just have to use context. We just have to pay attention to the sentence. Nosotros, we have habamos. Vosotros habáis. And ellos, ellas, ustedes is haban. And notice on nosotros, you do have an accent over that first A, because where that is such a long ending, if it didn't have the accent, it would change the way the word would be pronounced. So if you need to take a second and pause the video and finish writing these endings down, that would be phenomenal. So here are some examples in the preterite, or not in the preterite, excuse me, in the imperfect tense for AR verbs. I was dancing when she called me. So this is an action you were doing that got interrupted. So we said estaba. So the verb there is estar. I dropped the AR and added aba to the end. Estaba bailando cuando me llamó. I was dancing when she called me. Okay. Down here, I need to underline it so it matches. Sorry about that. So we have, I walked to the park every day. Caminaba al parque todos los días. Caminaba al parque todos los días. And then we talked a lot. We have nosotros hablábamos mucho. So that is a mouthful. Hablábamos. It's a lot. So we talked a lot. This would be like if you were describing like a past friendship, like that would be a habitual action. I walked to the park every day. That's a habit. That's a habitual action. And then this first example, I was dancing when she called me, is that second scenario that we encounter when you have an action that is being performed and then it gets interrupted. So now we have our ER endings and our IR endings. Remember, they're the same. And they don't even really look like the AR endings at all. So that's the only like confusing bit about these. So the ER and IR endings are ia. It's an I with an accent and an A. Ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, ian. So all of these I's in the endings, the first I has an accent mark. I'll give you a second to write these down. And then we'll look at a couple of examples. So here are my examples. Got them a little flip-flop. So we have, she ran at the park on Wednesdays. Ella corría por el parque los miércoles. This is a habitual action. It was a habit. It was a routine that she ran at the park on Wednesdays. In the past, I ate a healthy diet. This was a habitual action. Yo comía una dieta saludable en el pasado. And we have, they were eating when I saw them. This is the action that is being performed that gets interrupted. So we have, ellos comían cuando se vi a ellos. Okay. I would love it if you wrote like one example down to go with it, to go with your charts. And then now we are going to look at the 3 irregular verbs. So the 3 irregulars are ser, ir, and ver. You do need to write these 3 charts down. So the verb ser is going to be era, eras, era, éramos, erais, eran. And so this is what you're going to use specifically if you're describing someone's characteristics or if you're giving the time or the date in the past. Over here we have ir, we have iba, ibas, iba, íbamos, ibais, iban. And you'll notice the nosotros form does have an accent over the I. And then ver is technically irregular because it includes the E from the infinitive ending, although it does just use the regular ER, IR endings. So we have veía, veías, veía, veíamos, veíais, veían. Very good. So what we're going to do now, we're going to switch gears. And I am going to, hopefully you can see this correctly. I'm going to go through and we're going to do some of your assignment for the week together so you can have some good examples, some solid examples of the irregulars in the imperfect and the regulars in the imperfect. So our first section, it says section 1, complete the chart below with the correct conjugations of the verbs provided in the imperfect tense. So we're going to do hablar, and we are going to do vivir. So first off, hablar is an AR verb. So we are going to use our AR endings. So the yo form would be hablaba. It's kind of fun to say. 2, hablabas. El, ella, usted will also be hablaba. Nosotros, got an accent on the A. Hablábamos. Fun mouthful to say. I misspelled it. How embarrassing. Hablabais. Hablabais. Hablaban. Hablaban. And then vivir. Vivía. Vivías. So there you go. And you guys will do comprar and comer on your own. And then don't forget, ir is one of the 3 irregulars that you wrote down. So you already have these answers ready to go. Section 2, it says complete the sentences below with the correct conjugations of the verbs in parentheses. Then give the translation of the sentence. Let's do the first 4. And then you guys can do the rest on your own. So first things first. Nosotros blank a la casa de mis primos todos los viernes. So we know ir is an irregular verb. So we have to look at our notes and our chart. And we are going to look at the nosotros form, which is íbamos. Nosotros íbamos a la casa de mis primos todos los viernes. Or veranos, sorry. I made a weird combination of Friday and summer. Oh. So the translation of this is going to be, so we went because it's in the past tense. So we have la casa de mis primos. This is going to show possession. So it's going to be, we went to my cousin's house. And then todos los veranos. It's going to be every summer. We went to my cousin's house every summer. Okay. Next, we have Isabel blank contenta todo el tiempo. So conjugating estar, which is an AR verb, into the imperfect. Say estaba. Isabel estaba contenta todo el tiempo. So Isabel was content or was happy todo el tiempo. This is a phrase that means all the time. This is a habitual action, or it's a description of her condition. So when we're talking about age, we use the imperfect. I should say años. Sorry about that. So this is going to be Paula tenía 30 años, because tener is an ER verb. So Paula was 30 years old. And then our last example that we're going to look at says, en el pasado, las chicas siempre blank en casa. So our subject is las chicas, and we are going to be conjugating trabajar, which is an AR verb, into the imperfect. So we will have trabajaban en casa. So en el pasado, in the past, the girls always worked in the house. So this is like a habitual action. This was this is what women did in the past. Okay, so hopefully this gets you going on the imperfect tense. So if you all have any questions, I would love it if you could message me on Remind, or if you even want to come to the other Zoom help sessions, that would be phenomenal. But just reach out if you need any help. I'd love to help you. Have a great day.